Hi everyone. I am going to move on to the first important step. Actually, this is the second step. The first one was my previous video, which explained everything that you need to get started. So no matter what you're making, jelly roll, everybody has to start by making these ropes. You do ropes for hats or rugs or baskets or whatever you're making. So my friend, customer actually, wants me to make a hat like this for her. It's a wide brimmed sun hat, and I put a little butterfly, and I have a chin strap on it that will, if I could get my fingers to work, that moves up and down so you can tighten it up on your chin. So these are the two colors that she's chosen, and I think they're going to look super pretty together. So the very first thing we have to do after we've chosen our fabric is we need to make sure we have our cutting mat, our 2.5-inch ruler, and our rotary cutter. So I have gone ahead and pre-washed, pre-dried, and ironed my fabric so I can make sure that it doesn't really shrink. I also have ironed it, so I've lined up the seam. This fabric actually is 42 inches wide, but it is 78 inches long, which means it's a little over 2.5 yards, which I like a lot better because then my strips are 2.5 yards lengthwise. So the lady that cut this material did a horrible job, horrible job. I think it must have been the end of a bolt or something. So when I got home, I realized how much I was actually going to waste. So it was a little annoying. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I folded my fabric so I have these sides even and this side straight, and everything is kosher, right? Everything is straight. So I'm going to take this line and I'm going to use one of these lines on my board to line it up straight. And then I am right-handed, so I tend to like cut this way, not this way. But it depends on what it is. I try to get the piece that's like the shortest in width, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply line this up like right here. I want to make sure that I get, let's see, let's put that there and that there. So I want this edge right here as straight as possible. Oops, gotta have that blade out, and you gotta make sure you don't cut your fingers off, because I've tried to do that before. Oops, I may need to sharpen my rotary blade. Obviously you see why I'm right-handed, right? Why I like to cut it the other way. Okay, if you see my face, I'm really sorry, but I had surgery yesterday and I look like I got a cat fight. I think I said that in the last video too. It's the same day. All right, so since I do cut this way, I'm going to actually turn this over because I want to keep this bottom edge straight. So now really all I have to do is take my 2.5-inch ruler, place it right on the edge over here. I wonder if I should sharpen that. Oh well. Anyway, I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to move it. So that everybody's got to go through this step, so you might as well, I just kind of get it out of the way. Go ahead and cut all the fabric up, because if I don't use it on this hat, I will use it on something else, a rug, a basket, who knows. Yes, I need to sharpen my rotary cutter. Trying to keep everything straight. Go on to the next piece. Keep my fingers, they cut that time. So, and see, because I sprayed that sticky stuff I had told you about on this ruler, it does not slip away from me at all. And then I can just move my fabric and keep on cutting. So this, to me, I would rather cut my own, because, you know, sometimes you get fabric on sale and you can choose your own colors. And if you love using pre-cut jelly rolls, that is fine too. Oops, and that one slipped a little bit, so that was big time my fault. I just need to get I'm trying not to let you see my face. That's terrible, isn't it? Okay, so I just need to even it back up like that. And then, since I screwed up this piece, obviously, I am going to go right down the middle. Let's see. I'm going to actually line it up on this edge over here. Extra off. See, only had a little tiny bit. And then, because this is folded in half, this is where the seam is. I will just refold this lengthwise and cut it. This obviously is scrap, and I will probably end up using it to make like the chin ties or binding or something else. So I just throw it over here in my scrap pile. So the reason that I keep paper around is once I get everything cut out, I just make a note for myself how much fabric I have. So I've actually already measured this out, and this blue fabric, if I had 1 yard of it at 36, let me see if you can get close. If I had 1 yard of this fabric, that is 36 inches, and this is 42-inch wide material. So you get 17 strips out of that. So what I did is you take the width, 42, and you divide it by 2.5, which is how wide I cut my strips and my batting. And it's like 16.8 strips, but I think most of the time I get 17 out of it. So this, since it's 78 inches, I am going to get 29 or 30 strips out of it. So I also write down how many inches. So this, I have 1,248 inches. When I keep track of it like this, I can actually tell, like, example, this is a rug that I did. So I know how much, when I started out, how much I had. So I subtracted what was left over, and I know I used 154 inches on that section, 198 inches, etc. So I know next time exactly how much I need, and I don't have to rethink it in my head. So the next thing that I want to do is if it's a hat, like I said, I'm going to use this bamboo, which is buttery soft, and it's thin. And I have bamboo undergarments, pajamas, tops, and they do keep you cooler. So when you're out in the sun, I use the bamboo lining here on top and about halfway down. And then I switch over to cotton batting because it's a little stiffer and it just holds up better for a hat. So after I cut my batting, I put it on this. Let's see if I can get over here. So I have a little thing I wound it up on. I'm working on a rug right now. And I just keep it wound up on this. And that way I can pull my strip out at the same time as my batting and just go to town. So when I come back, next video is going to be on how to sew your rope. See you later.